2016 has been an absolute delight in terms of video games. We've been graced with phenomenal titles like Uncharted 4, Titanfall 2, and The Witness. Despite the accolades, we thought it'd be fun to overly critique some of the year's biggest and most praised games to prove that not everything is as perfect as people make it out to be. These games are absolutely deserving of their high regard, but calling a game perfect is a disservice. So let's take a look at the not so perfect games of 2016. And with that said, mild spoilers are ahead.
Hang on, Nathan!
Where is the artifact?
Heads up! Go!
Despite its seamless gunplay and traversal mechanics, Uncharted 4 has a few flaws that need to be pointed out. The game forces players to encounter the story in the way Naughty Dog sees fit. Players are required to either watch non-interactive cutscenes or drag Nate through an environment where you can only walk. Naughty Dog had us chasing around spider monkeys and using dialogue trees that ultimately carried no real weight in the narrative. A similar game that encountered this problem was The Order 1886. It was beautiful and jaw-dropping, but received heavy backlash for restraining the player in a similar fashion. Uncharted 4's climax is another problem. Many players may have felt satisfied with the ending, but it wasn't really earned. The game's main antagonist, Rafe, never felt like a truly fleshed out villain, and Sam's motivations were frustratingly hasty just to move the plot forward. By the time we reached the epilogue, it never felt like any true sacrifice was made on Nate's part. Despite all the lies, brashness, and death around him, the wisecracking hero mostly escaped unscathed.
Enjoying the exhibit? Alright, playtime's over. Get to cover.
Come on, move it!
Let's get down to brass tacks here. Overwatch is a multiplayer-only game lacking a single-player campaign. The world Blizzard created with its cast of heroes and villains is something we want to explore. A developer with a track record like Blizzard creating an original IP in a market dominated by sequels and remakes, it's something that needs to be fleshed out. The game's beautiful aesthetic is reminiscent of a Pixar film, and its varied personalities would make for a perfect story. It's disappointing to not see a campaign in the game. Overwatch's multiplayer is certainly a highlight, but are we really getting anything much different than Team Fortress 2? Team-based FPS multiplayer isn't a novel idea, and Overwatch launched with 12 maps across 4 game modes, which is something critics would cry foul over like they did with other multiplayer-only games like Star Wars Battlefront or Rainbow Six Siege. Also Bastion, screw that guy. We get it from software, you like to make hard games. Dark Souls 3 is the latest entry in the highly regarded franchise. Technically the 5th in this illustrious Soul series, Dark Souls 3 doesn't really change the formula. Battle arts and a luck stat were attempts at making Dark Souls 3 feel fresh, but players mostly resorted to the basic tenets of past games. Use your shield, land visceral attacks, run to a bonfire, and die repeatedly until you learn the boss's moves. Dark Souls 3's other frustration lies in the lack of a narrative. We're sure Redditors have broken down every complex plot point, but the game's presentation is vague at best. Also, for the love of all that is the sun, can we please fix the damn camera during boss fights? Multiplayer is as frenetic as ever thanks to the variety of Titan classes that are at your disposal. However, the Titans are walking piles of scrap. Every time you call down your Titan, you become an easy target. All it takes is one pilot rodeo and a few anti-Titan rockets and you're toast. In a game where the Titans are supposed to be powerful, intelligent entities, we feel like the exact opposite on a multiplayer battlefield. The single-player campaign on the flip side overly focuses on the main protagonist's relationship with his new Titan, BT-7274. The relationship is the strongest aspect of Titanfall 2's campaign, but by the time you reach the climax, it's difficult to understand exactly who you saved the universe from. The Witness is capable of giving players their gaming confidence back, but the game commits a few flaws. First, while there is a semblance of a story, The Witness leaves it up to your puzzle-solving abilities to unlock the mysteries of the island. The more puzzles you solve, the more clues you can uncover about what exactly is going on in this game. However, with more than 650 panels to solve, finding the full meaning of The Witness is left only to the elite completionists. Speaking of the puzzles, some of The Witness's puzzles are more about dexterity than intelligence. A few light panels rotate as you try to solve them, while others require your brain to flip images for solutions. We want to be rewarded with something more tangible for every puzzle we solve. Instead of being rewarded with additional puzzles, The Witness should be delivering fulfilling rewards like concrete answers to the island. Did you have any gripes with this year's most popular games, or are we overreacting? Make sure to let us know in the comments below.